Hey, how's it going? It's Malice. So, I'm going to teach you how to build a brand that gets you editing clients. And I'm saying this because I've built my brand over the last few years and I've gotten it to the point where it's gotten me my dream clients. I'm working with guys with 10, 20, 30 million subscribers and I still get inbounds to the point where I don't know what to do with them. So, I know I've built my brand correctly and I'm going to share with you the system that I have used in order for me to build this brand like this. So we're going to go over to the whiteboard of truth and justice. First, let's start off with what a brand does. A brand is essentially a vehicle. We've got a little minecart here. The question is, what does this vehicle travel between? Here's you. Here's your edits. Here's a client. Here's his money. He wants to spend this money, but he doesn't know on who. And until he knows that you exist, there is physically no way for him to pay you unless he actually knows you exist. This minecart is where you put your edits and let the creator know that, hey, I am an editor. This is what my work looks like. A brand is the vehicle for you to let your work be known. Because without an online presence, it doesn't matter that you could be the best editor in the world, but if no one's seen your work, he's just going to go to someone else. He physically cannot pay you. You're going to stay as strangers. And the entire process of getting clients as a video editor, well, client acquisition in any business, it's the conversion from a stranger into a client. This is essentially, like, in one little thing, the making money side of editing. Because sure, you could be great at editing. There's a lot of good editors that are broke, and I'll say it myself. There's editors who are better than me that make 10 times less money than me. But to go from stranger to client, I'm sure you've noticed, it's not as easy as one step. In fact, it feels as though this step, it's almost impossible. But it's because we've been looking at it as if it is just one step. In reality, it's actually more like 10, 20, 30 steps to go from here, where someone doesn't even know you exist, to them actually appreciating your editing and paying you what you want. So let's talk about it in terms of inbounds, because I think when people talk about brand, they think more in terms of inbounds. It does help with outreach, but we'll talk about that in another video. When someone's a stranger, what's the first thing that they need to do in order for them to get closer to them being your client? Not for them to become a client straight away, but for them to become closer, for them to know about you. They need to see one of your posts. So it needs to literally be served to them. The algorithm needs to push it out to their timeline. Once they've seen your post, usually it will be a preview where you've posted your own editing work. After that, let's actually talk like first principle. What are they going to do next? They're going to click the post. So what that means is maybe they're scrolling through Twitter and they click so it unmutes and plays. Then after that, they're likely going to go into your profile if they like it. Then after that, when they're on your profile, what do they even look at first? Is it your portfolio? Is it your bio? Honestly, usually it's none of them. They might give a quick little glance at your profile picture. Usually they'll ignore your banner, but first they just do like a quick 5-second scroll. They'll go down your page just a few seconds. Then they'll usually scroll back up. They'll look at a few previews in that time. They'll read your bio. Then maybe, if they've liked what they've seen, they'll go onto your portfolio, which it should be linked into your bio. Then after going into your portfolio, that's when this similar process of going a couple seconds down, checking maybe 4 seconds of your video that you've put on there. They don't really check everything, by the way. And if they like that, then they'll go back to your to your profile. So there's a few steps on their portfolio here. They'll go into your profile and then they'll DM you. and then you got to go close them. But that's a whole topic on its own of how to close people in DMs. There's 100 different things there. But essentially, there's a chain of actions that someone needs to go through in order for them to go from a stranger to a client. Maybe 100 steps. In order for you to maximize the number of clients that you get and for them to be the highest quality, you need to figure out, how do you get this person to go on to the next stage? Because if you have, from the percentage of people that see your post to the percentage of people that actually click it, if there's only if let's say out of 100 people that go to see your post and only 5 of them actually look at it, how do you expect, if there's gonna be even less and less people, so after clicking on it, only one of them actually goes on your profile, how do you expect to be closing people if you have all these steps left and you've already lost 99% of people? The goal of this is to optimize the number of people that go on to the next stage. This is what we call the action chain of client acquisition. And to get people to take action, to get a client to take action, a potential client, we need to remember that this client, when you hear the word client, what do we think? We think it's a YouTuber, we think it's someone that can give us videos, someone that can pay us well. Imagine all the characteristics that you would give your dream client. Genuinely think about it. How would you want them to be in terms of what they can pay you, in terms of the videos that they make? A lot of the time, I'll say it for myself, I forgot that at the end of the day, they're still a human. And this isn't like some soft thing for me to say, oh, they're people too. But what this means is the same psychological things that happen to a human happen to your client. And if you can understand what makes humans take action, you can make a potential client go from a stranger to one that's actually paying you exactly what you want. So let's talk about, forget clients, let's talk about what makes humans take action. Humans take action when they're presented with a stimuli. A stimuli is just something that a human recognizes, as in it causes some sort of reaction. It's an experience that you go through. And when a human is met with a stimuli, that causes an action. So let's give some examples of this. If you, as the human, touch a hot stove, the stimuli you feel through your fingers, through your nervous system and into your brain is hot, very hot. So the action you do is you move your hand. You experienced a stimuli, caused an action. Let's say you and cold. You went outside and it was cold. This is the stimuli that you felt through your body. You might go put a jacket on. You might go inside, go into your room, open the wardrobe, get a jacket out. That's the action you've taken because of the stimuli. Let's say that you were disrespected by one of your old friends. The stimuli that your brain has is, I've been disrespected, I've lowered myself in status in some way, shape or form, of this person has made me feel bad. That's a stimuli. You will be more likely to ignore him. That's an action that's happened because of a stimuli. So all human actions are because there has been a stimuli for that action to come about. And the only reason someone will go from a stranger to the next step in this action chain is because you have presented a stimuli which has effectively helped them move along to the next stage. So what we need to do is define who is this human and what is this stimuli that will give us the action that we want. And it's important that we define the human because not all humans will react the same way to a stimuli. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have a poster that's hung up in your city, in your town, and it's for a band. Imagine it's like this K-pop band, like this Korean, this boy band, I think they call it, like the Korean bands, right? There's a poster of a concert. When you look at this is a stimuli. It will cause certain emotions to come up in your brain and you will experience those. And when a human experiences these, you could have one human look at this and have a certain action because of it. And if this was a different human, you could have the exact same stimuli and you would have a different action. So if you had a K-pop fan, the action that they might take after this stimuli might be to, let's say there's a QR code here, might be to scan the QR code to take the next step in going to this concert. But if you had a K-pop hater, maybe you don't like K-pop, and you saw this stimuli, your stimuli might be to cringe at it, to actually actively ignore it. You could have the same stimuli, but because of the type of person it is, they do a different action. So what we want to do is create stimuli that specifically is for the human that we want to attract. And if you're a video editor and you're looking to get clients, who is the human that you want to attract? Might be a client, yes. But more specifically, you want to get a high paying client. Because different stimuli will attract different levels of creator. You could have the same stimuli and it might attract a low paying client and detract a high paying client. Not all clients are the same. We want to have stimuli that specifically attracts a high paying client. So now we have high paying client plus stimuli, which is equal to an action. The way you figure out how to get someone through this action chain of stranger to seeing your post, to clicking your post, to clicking your profile, to scrolling a little, to scrolling back up, to going in your bio, to going in your portfolio, and etc., all the way to DMing you, is you take each one of these steps and you ask yourself, how can I give what stimuli and how can I optimize the stimuli in order for them to have the highest percentage likelihood chance of them moving forward and not leaving. So you have a Twitter post. How can you make it the highest percentage likelihood chance for this Twitter post, this stimuli, to get them to click on that post and not scroll past? It would mean that the hook of your preview is great. You will notice whenever I post a preview, or whenever I post anything, let's say this preview, the first clip is a good edit. And even this, honestly, having 1 whole second of him just bouncing, normally I wouldn't even allow 1 second of this sort of dead time. The first few frames you want to just be your animations. You notice why these tweets do well? This is why. Because I maximize the number of people that see the post and click on it. So that's the hook of your preview, and that will be the stimuli in order to get a client to take the next action, which is to click on the post. Now let's optimize the next action. From clicking on your post to the profile, how can you maximize the percentage likelihood chance that they click on it? First of all, you would make the preview actually good. You could have subconscious sort of, it's subliminal messaging, where I'm sure I've probably done it with one of these, where I'll usually put, if I did a call to action in the video, I'll usually put it at the end of the preview. This was actually in the real video in the middle. This makes subliminal messaging of them trying to click on my profile. I'll make sure that my Twitter, even through either the handle or the name, you only need one of them. I have done both, but you only need one. Shows that you're an editor. So for a human, specifically a high-paying client looking for an editor, and they see I am an editor, does that make them more or less likely to click on my profile? More likely, right? If you have a stupid profile picture, are they more or less likely to click if they're a high-paying client? Less likely. Who is more likely? Another meme sort of small client, maybe another stupid editor might click on your profile. Is that the person you want to take the next action? No. So you do what a high-paying client who's looking for an editor will like. I have all these terms that would attract a high-paying client. And it's important to say, It's not the exact words that are important here, because I know at least one person watching this right now had the thought, oh, I'm just going to type the exact same thing. There's reasons why stimuli copied from other people doesn't perform as well, and it actually harms you, but I can explain that later. But you can see the stimuli, the words that I use. This is a stimuli. Someone sees this, recognizes the name, 500,000 followers. Oh, I want to click, let's learn more. So now we've taken as many people to this stage, and we just keep doing this. Now they're on our profile. How can we maximize the percentage likely chance that they scroll? Make sure your pinned tweet is a preview. How can you maximize the chance that after they scroll back up? Make sure that your most recent 10 tweets are super hyper targeted to a high paying client. They're all previews, they're all social proof. They're not tweets that would actively discourage someone from working with you. Because if a high paying client saw the stimuli of a giveaway, let's say you retweet a giveaway, or God forbid you're doing your own giveaways, what would a high paying client's action be if they see this stimuli? They'd honestly be cringed out by it. Because who does a giveaway attract? Other broke editors. They see a giveaway, and they're the ones that click. They're the ones that like. They're the ones that go on your profile. They're the ones that follow. They're the ones that DM you. So if you feel as though you are starting to get these things, you are starting to get clicks, you are starting to get likes, views, but you're not getting high paying clients, it's because your stimuli isn't optimized for the human that you want to attract. So your most recent tweets, if you want someone to go down your page and scroll back up and actually click on your links and go to your DMs, you make sure these tweets, these stimuli are actually optimized for the high paying client. So now you've done that step, you do the next. From scrolling back up to your bio, how can you make sure that from your bio, you've optimized it and you've called out an avatar so that they're most likely going to your portfolio? Every single word here has been optimized for a high paying client. And here's the thing, it's not about copying it. If you're going to copy exactly what I write, and I've seen it happen before, those editors stay poor. They still struggle with clients because they don't understand why I've put certain things there. Because here's what happens with stimuli. Stimuli will always fatigue. This is how responsive the market is to a stimuli, to a certain thing. This is the exposure, and especially when there's multiple people doing the exposure, so the multiple people are showing the same stimuli, the market becomes less and less responsive to it. The first time they see it, they're 100% responsive, it's popular. After a few times, it's like, hey, no one really cares. After a long enough time, people ignore you. So stimuli will always be evolving. That's why I'm teaching you the principles, not just exactly what to write. I can teach you exactly what to write, but I want this video to be timeless. And I mean, I know what works constantly because I'm always in the space. But this is why copying people doesn't work. It's why you find that editing styles that are extremely popular 6 months ago, they're seen as cringe and overdone now. It's why you see the same styles that are popping off now. I promise you, in 6 months from now, the market will have been overexposed to that stimuli, and no one will respond as well to it. The editors that stay in that fatigued style will struggle with negotiations, will struggle with competition, will struggle with being price compared, will struggle with negotiations, because they don't understand that stimuli fatigues, and the stimuli that they want to be putting out is one that attracts high-paying clients, not broke clients and broke editors. So look for your page right now. Does every single thing on your page serve a functional role? Does it actually have a purpose? Because I've seen so many people with, let's say on Discord, you go into their connections where it says, oh, there's this Twitter and there's this YouTube, and then there's this Steam account where it's like for their games, and then there's this Spotify, my PayPal. If a client can see these things in your connections, these are stimuli. It doesn't matter if you want them to click or not. They're stimuli nonetheless. And if someone goes onto your YouTube and it's some random channel, are they more or less likely to start working with you? Or are they going to be like, what is this guy talking about? And just completely X out of the tab and not hire you and just look for someone else? And even if you have grown your channel, is it catered towards him? Is your channel's, is the stimuli on there actually for a high paying client? I'll be honest, my channel isn't even for high paying clients, it's for editors. And you'll notice in my Discord, I don't link my YouTube because it's not a stimuli that will attract a high paying client. Your Spotify. Is a client more likely to hire you if they go on your Spotify? Probably not. If anything, they're just going to get distracted and forget you exist. Your Steam, your PayPal, my brother, you're not an OnlyFans creator where you can just link your PayPal and you make money. If I've seen people that have their PayPal linked, when has anyone ever paid you from there? Why is it here? Is it a stimuli that actually serves a role? No, remove it. Everything must serve a functional role. This is something in science as well, where within an ecosystem, every single organism, plant, animal, anything, it serves a role within the system. There is a reason how everything is interconnected. There will never be a thing in an ecosystem where it just exists. Because either it will die or it will harm everything else. So by removing this, the ecosystem thrives even more. Check your Twitter profile. Look at every single word, look at every single image that is on there. And ask yourself one question. Does this make a client more likely to work with me or less likely? Every single word, and I don't mean that in a trying to exaggerate way. Every single word in your bio, every single tweet, every single reply is stimuli that a client, potential client, will see, and their action will be changed because of it. Every single link that you put in your portfolio, every single word, every single number, especially the links, is this a stimuli that will make someone more likely to work with you? I'll give you an example. My Instagram. This is not catered to video editors. I just use it as a sort of personal thing, right? So I don't link it in my portfolio. I don't link it in my Twitter, because it's a personal where I help. I talk about how I help editors, and I talk about my personal life, but I don't post my editing work. So I don't have it as a stimuli when you go into my portfolio. Every single word here is because I have targeted what a high-paying client would want, and it's stimuli that serves a purpose. And I'll explain why you shouldn't copy exactly, because I've seen people who do it and it really harms them, but I'll explain that in a second. When I put this, creators I've worked with, the reason I put these here is because these are big numbers. This is a game that I can play and win. I can play the subscriber game. I can play the views game, because that's a game I know I'll win. Here's something important for you to understand. You always play games you will win. If you do not have clients with lots of views, do not mention the views. If you have clients whose names are extremely important within their space, then you use their names. If you don't use their names. If you know you're not going to win on the number game, you play on the visual game. If you aren't someone that can maximize retention and you don't have exact numbers for the retention that you've gotten for your clients, you do not say that you've maximized retention because you have no proof of it. Notice how I don't say I maximize retention. Why? My videos get good retention, bro, but it's not a game that I've optimized for. I know that there's going to be another editor at the top of his ranks who knows how to optimize for retention. That's not a game that I know how to play. So I don't play it. I can play the views game. I can play the subscriber game, so that's what I play. Play games you will win. If that means you don't have much social proof right now, play the visual game. Make your edit, make the actual visuals the main thing. Make it the fact that you've got full videos on there. If you don't have social proof, you're going to have to make up for it by not having short, crappy 20-second edits. If I had a 20-second practice edit on my portfolio, it would still do well. For you, if you can't play the name game, you don't have the luxury of just doing a 20-second practice edit. Every single little thing has been optimized for a client. And if it does not, you remove. Because here's the thing, just because you have more options does not mean it's better. I've seen people who have, like, in their call to actions, they'll have their Twitter, they'll have their email, they'll have their Instagram, they'll have like some LinkedIn, then they'll have also their email in written form. Oh, it's more options, so someone's more likely to message me. Are every single one of these optimized and look amazing for a client once they go on it? For me, no, it wouldn't be. My LinkedIn's, I don't even know if I have a LinkedIn. I think I made one when I was younger. So if I sent someone to my LinkedIn, they'd actually, imagine someone went through my entire like funnel. So they went through every single one of these steps of seeing my post, going in a profile, checking my portfolio, and they're just about to go from portfolio to DMing me. And then I send them to a page where I have not optimized it. I send them to a LinkedIn. And now they've lost all conviction and I've lost them as a potential client. I know that I've optimized one page for it, so I only send them here. These don't serve enough of a functional role, so I remove them because once we, like we said, if something does not serve a role, like relative to everything else, it'll just harm the ecosystem, so we remove it. Go through your pages now, go through your Discord, basically any contact point that someone can have with your business. That means your Discord, that means your YouTube, that means like your Instagram. That means your portfolio and every line in every single one of these. If you're going to have a client and push traffic to it, if you're going to push eyeballs to it, it better be bloody optimized. And it's really hard to optimize 5 different platforms. That's why I don't optimize 5 platforms. I just choose the one I want to optimize for. And I make sure that any stimuli on there, anything, because everything is a stimuli. If you can see it, it's a stimuli. If you can hear it, it's a stimuli. A client can experience it and their action will be affected by it. If you're going to have it there, make sure it's optimized to get them through each stage. Because a brand is a vehicle, and each little part of this vehicle is just another little stimuli. And together they build up your brand. And that is what allows high-paying clients to find out about your edits. And now they can actually say, wow, you're actually really good. Let's connect. But if no one knows you exist, it's super hard to make money. Because I know a lot of editors that their edits are objectively quite good. Like their editing is good enough for them to be making at least like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month. But they're making like $500 because this is what's holding them back. It's not the fact that their edits aren't good enough, it's just that they don't have a minecart taken across to potential clients. So this is how you build up a brand at first principles. Hope you enjoyed this. And yeah, bye.